Hey, folks, figured I'd just jump online right now. I got my boys out there doing some mowing for me, and I'm just watching them through the window here to see how they're coming along. We use electric Greenworks mower because it's great. I got two batteries, the batteries are 40 volts. I can't remember how many amp hours. Is it 145 amp hours? I think so. But anyway, so the boys can do that. And of course, we use let me show you. I'll show you what I'm doing here. Hold on just a second. If y'all can see that. So that's the green, the mulched grass clippings. We put that into my raised beds. I think next year I'm going to get rid of my raised beds. I'm just going to have the whole thing in the back, just one big fat garden. Just add all kinds of mulch like we're doing here. We have lots of leaves that fall. You can mulch those guys up and just, man, it's going to look good. Probably plant some kale here in a little bit, probably come fall. But anyway, all right, so I just want to share with you. I had an email from a lady today. It's interesting to me, and she had responded about the email I told the video I did earlier today about the lady and guy who gave me $100, and they just said, how anxious they were about their financial and retirement planning until they came across my videos and whatnot. So this is a single woman, divorced mom. I have a soft spot in my heart for single women who are divorced and raising their kids. You know what I'm saying? I do. But she says she has about $350,000 in retirement funds, and she can't pay the $2,500 fee that I charge for retirement plans. Can she do $500 a month? And the issue, if you have less than $500,000, I only charge $950. And I don't say only like it's freaking chump change, but I don't mean it to sound like, oh, hey, Lisa, I don't mean to sound like there's only like it's a charity thing. It's not. It's a real money. It's a real commitment to you on your part if you're going to hire me. It's the only way it can be. I don't want this, kick the tires and test runs and stuff. That's why I have all these videos. You can see who you want to hire, and you say, I don't want to hire that guy, or just whatever. I mean, it's fine. But I don't want to be like free portfolio reviewer. Come on in, and that's not. I don't like that. I never liked that at all, and I don't ever want to do that. So if you have less than $500,000 of liquid net worth, I charge $950 because there are people like that, like Miss Jane and this lady here. A lot of times they're going to be single divorcees. And I absolutely get fired up to work with those people just as much as I get fired up to work with people who have more than that. You have to draw the line at some place, the liquid net worth. I think $500,000 is a good place to draw it. So if you have $502,000 liquid net worth, I charge you $2,500. It's just that simple. If you have $498,000, I don't. Now, look, at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit there and say, hey, you got $499,522 and the market went up by 5%. So you got 503. I don't care. It's not that big of a deal. But the issue is at the end of the day, if you have less than $500,000, I charge $950 for the full-fledged plan. If you have more than $500,000 of liquid net worth, that's not using your home, I charge $2,500. It's up to you if you want to pursue that. I'm completely comfortable with that without question. Whatever you want to do is fine with me. If you want to even do it, I don't care. It's completely up to you. Like I said in my earlier video I did today, I don't know what the regulatory agencies are going to be like when it comes to all this crap with YouTube and whatnot. I just don't know. And so I have no idea how long. I don't know. I mean, hopefully I can be doing this for a long time because I think the value added is pretty significant for the general consumer, not just that tiny sliver of people, the rich people up there. But we shall see. All right. So a couple of things. I did a video earlier today. If y'all haven't seen it, it's on Medicare, the hold harmless provision. And I do want to talk about that. And if you have questions, not that many people on board because I didn't give anyone in advance of doing this. I was watching my man Styx Hexenhammer 666. Now I'm a big fan of Styx. He's obviously you may or may not know him, but he's not a Christian by any stretch. But he's a knowledgeable guy when it comes to Christianity. And I think he has more knowledge than the average run-of-the-mill Christians do. And that's not good. It's a lack of not knowing your own faith is why you're so easily removed from the falling of what Jesus went through us. And if you're going to be a Christian, you need to know the faith. You need to be an apologist, i.e. a defender of the religion. And again, I say this all the time, a polemic is you're on the offense. You're attacking those, not being like, oh, I'm like the freaking, Antifa attacking. Is a polemic says I'm going to attack what your misconceptions of the faith are. So, we take a polemic against Richard Dawkins and his atheism. That's fine. But you need to start with apologism. And the apologist would be C.S. Lewis, first and foremost, without question, is the best apologist for the Christian faith you can find. And then you can go many, many, many rows from there. I got 8 million thousand apologists on podcast. Trying to blank the guy's name. I got so many Christian apologists. My man Tim Keller out of New York City. He's a great pastor. We got William Lane Craig. That's what it was. William Lane Craig is another one. He's fantastic. The Veritas Foundation, I think, they're fantastic. And then, of course, RZIM, Ravi Zacharias, these are all fantastic. Not that many from the Catholicism, I will say, which kind of bothers me. There should be more Catholicism in apologists, but Catholics are not notorious for being good preachers. Catholics are notorious more for being more of the tried and true, what's the word I'm looking for? The aura of the old school, and the Protestants are definitely more teaching in terms of teaching for the layman. And don't forget, it's like a Bible study podcast. Don't forget, it was the whole point about Catholicism is they don't want anyone else to read the Bible. You see what I'm saying? You had to know Latin, and that's where the break came, was because people said, wait, if this is so good, why should I leave it up to some corrupt priest to explain it to me? And I couldn't agree with that more. Then I got Voice of Martyrs Radio on here too. So just tons of podcasts on various faith things of that nature, which for me helps me a lot. So when I'm out there mowing, I can listen to various podcasts. All right. So Medicare hold harmless. I just did a video yesterday on Medicare in terms of why I'm going Medigap and I won't go Medicare Advantage. The issue is Medigap is all encompassing. If a doc is in network, is taking Medicare, he or she has to take your Medigap policy. That's just is part and parcel. My issue was my bone of contention on this article was that they compared original Medicare with Medicare Advantage and the lack of doctors therein. But original Medicare, you still have unlimited expenses on the top end. So you are on the hook for anything that's above and beyond the 80% that Medicare pays. Whereas at least Medicare Advantage, for a fact your bottom line what it's going to be without question. But the problem with Medicare Advantage is an HMO. All right, so you have a number of things you got to consider, and it's great seeing some of these comments from people who say they love their Medicare Advantage. A guy, actually, I'll read this one to you today, which I thought was fantastic. If I can find my comments, but he said he was in South Jersey, Marlton, New Jersey, and I used to live in Haddonfield, so I'm very familiar with South Jersey. Hold on just a second. I will tell you. Hold on just a second. All right, so here we got one. Thanks. My sister has a Humana dual plan. She was stumped because the network doctor information indicated her regular dentist was a network provider. However, when she called the dentist's office, they said that they did not accept the plan. You see this kind of stuff all the time. The office manager assumed they're on the list because Humana accepted dental plans for employers. My sister found it very hard to locate a dental provider who accepted her coverage. So a lot of times these Medigap, you got to get secondly private dental. You have to turn. I'm not on this. I'm 49 years old. I don't know. But with Medicare Advantage plans, a lot of times you can get dental, vision, and hearing as part of hearing as part of the plan. And a lot of times you don't pay any premium for this. You still got to pay your Part B. But the reason for that is because the incentive of the insurance companies from the CMS, the Center for Medicaid and Medicare Services, is so high that it's a body count. They're getting paid, I don't know, like $3,000 or whatever it is. My man J.O. talked about the exact how much they get paid, but they get $3,000 per head, and they're only spending $2,000 per head. That's $1,000 the bottom line. So it's essentially an arms race of the benefits they can provide. But I want to read this. I thought it was pretty interesting. So this guy says, if you are with a Medigap plan, with pre-existing conditions, is it okay to switch to a different Medigap plan? Now, the issue here is always, if you're going from Medigap to Medicare Advantage, you don't need to be underwritten. If you're going from Medicare Advantage to Medigap, you have to be underwritten. So be very, very careful there, because going from MA, Medicare Advantage, or Part C, if you will, to a supplemental policy, which is otherwise known as Medigap, is you got to go through underwriting. There's just no other way around that. If you have a pre-existing condition, yeah, good luck to that. Now, going from Medigap to Medigap, I'm just telling you, if I'm an insurance company and you're on the hook to Humana with your pre-existing conditions, and I say, I don't want to take that risk, so you might as well stay with Humana because I'm Aetna or I'm United Healthcare. I don't want to take that risk for Medigap. So anytime you're on pre-existing condition, I would always assume that you're going to need to be underwritten if you're going to change your policy. I hope that makes sense. Now, with that said, talk to Jay, J-A-E-O-H-J-O. Talk to Danielle Roberts down at Boomer Benefits, J-O over at MaximizeMyMedicare.com. Sign up for his newsletter. Sign up for Danielle Roberts' Facebook page. I am absolutely not the expert on this, nor do I want to be, but I know enough to at least bring the bad news. I don't know what it'd be, but the issue is we focus so much on, the small potatoes of the overall system in terms of investments. The biggest ones, and I agree with this actually, because people say, you make light of the healthcare costs of retirement. I don't make light of it. I just think it's not nearly as debilitating as people say when it comes to retirement plan. I just think it's nuts. But at the end of the day, I say, no, I get it, man. There are expenses, significant expenditures to be paid. Absolutely. And if you don't have a Medigap or at least a Medicare Advantage plan, you are taking a massive risk. And it just doesn't make sense to do that when it costs a Medigap plan $100 to $110 a month and you have coverage throughout the United States. Any doc that accepts original Medicare will take you. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to take you quickly. It doesn't mean they're going to be nice. It doesn't mean you're going to have good bedside manners. But if they take Medicare, they are open to you for your network. And it's not the same thing with Medicare Advantage. Again, if you're Medicare Advantage and you're in freaking Seattle and you're traveling up to Wasilla, Alaska, or whatever that place is called, going down to Corpus Christi up to Bangor, Maine, it's going to be hard to find a network that's going to cover you for all those different areas. And that's, again, Medigap would be the benefit as opposed to Medicare Advantage. But I'm paying $150 a month. Well, guess what? That's the whole thing. None of this stuff is free. And all these people about their single payer, just free. It just falls from the sky. Just there it is. And it's not. Someone's got to pay this stuff. And Medicare is not, it's not like it's sitting there like freaking Bill Gates with thousands of billions and millions of dollars. I mean, Medicare's got no money. It's, I can't remember if it's already kaput, not, when I say kaput, doesn't mean it's going away, but it's already running out of its cash flow, or is it going to be 2021 or something? Maybe it's 2026. But certainly going to be a whole lot more of a world of hurt before the Social Security is, without question. Then they add all these people to Medicaid, the indigent, and then the state's got to kick in. And old John Kasich in Ohio who said, yeah, I want to sign up for Medicaid and Donald Trump, blah, blah, blah. It's like, what happened to you, man? And so he signed up for Medicaid, and guess who's going to be on the hook for that? Because the federal government gave him the bait, and they're going to switch him out. They say, we're going to make it worth your while, John Kasich. It's not going to bust your budget while you're in office, but push it down the road. And 5 years down the road, the federal government's going to step back, and you still got all those Medicaid recipients, and you don't have the money to pay for it. Just read an article the other day about someone posted it on my man Lenny on my Facebook thing at Heritage Wealth Planning Facebook or whatever it's called. And I don't get on Facebook that much, to be perfectly honest. I probably scour there once a day, just see if anything jumps out at me, but just it frankly bores me. And I don't have time to, and I know me. If I get engaged in a political debate, it's just going to piss me off, and I'm not going to be happy. And I won't convince somebody, they won't convince me, but I don't get it on that much for Facebook. But anyway, this man Lenny said, Illinois is thinking about taxing retirement benefits to pay for the pensions that they have promised to their government employees. My friends, if you all live in Illinois and you don't see this coming, what is it? What? I mean, come on. Illinois is quite favorable tax-wise right now to retirees. It ain't going to be like that for much longer. It's just inevitable, man. I mean, they can't give it all away, and they have these unfunded liabilities as far as the eye can see, and yet somehow everyone's worried about Social Security. Huh? So anyway. All right, so here's I wanted to hold on a second. Okay, so here's a guy. Krusty Rusty has said, if you need skilled nursing care like rehab after a hip replacement or something similar, Medigap is the way to go. Medicare Advantage plans like to cut you when they think you're done with therapy. There's our trash truck right there. Look at my boys out there mowing. Is there anything better than a young middle school kid mowing the front yard? I don't know what it is, other than maybe grandkids mowing the front yard. All right. Medicare Advantage will cut you when they think you're done with therapy, not necessarily when you are done. Working with those companies from a billing perspective was a nightmare half the time, says this guy. Then Tina had written in, here's Miguel. He writes in, no brainer to get a Medigap unless your economic situation is very bad. And then if it says bad, you can also have Medicaid to cover what Advantage will not. Take the time to research Medicare supplemental plans, Medi Supplement, and Medigap's the same thing, because plan types are standardized. Man, I couldn't agree with that more. Benefits are the same across plans of all the same type. So the only real difference is the premiums. I 100% agree. Let's see. Hold on a second. I wanted to read this one from Tina. I am on original Medicare along with Medigap. I chose this because Medicare Advantage plans, while great as long as you're healthy, will really sock it to you if you ever need to use their services of any sort. Well, the MA plans do limit the out-of-pocket expenses per year up to $6,800 in many plans. Your costs can really add up since that resets every single year. With a Medigap plan, this is not an issue since the monthly premium I pay for Plan G covers everything. So, I mean, look at some of this experience that we're getting on this channel. I mean, I didn't know that. Since 97% of the doctors accept Medicare, I know that I can see any doctor I choose without being subject to network requirements. I mean, that's freaking, dude, that's fantastic. That's a real world people. Comment on your old buddy Josh's YouTube channel about Medicare and things like that, which I love it. This doesn't fire you up. I don't know what would. Let's see. Hold on. I just want to read what Tina had written because she had mentioned. So here we go. All right. So Tina, thankfully, is a 100. She writes a lot, which is good. She's 100% against single payer, even though I believe everyone should have access to affordable health care. Well, just because a single payer doesn't mean everyone's going to have access to affordable health care. They might have affordable health insurance, but you can't make the two connections. Just because you have insurance doesn't mean you have care. But anyway, but she says, hey, Josh, I work for a large Medicare Advantage. So this is literally from someone with boots on the ground. I work for a large Medicare Advantage plan in Philly. And as you note, if you live in a large city, the Medicare Advantage plan has way more benefits than regular Medicare, regular being the original Medicare, Part A and Part B. We're not talking about the supplemental. It's just the Part A and Part B where you are still on the hook for anything above what that doesn't cover. So I agree. Where you live definitely affects which option to choose. Yep, I agree with that. Okay, so here's Guillermo Charles, I guess. Negative aspects about Medicare Advantage plans are needed referral to see specialists. Network of physicians and hospitals is limited to your local area, outside of which you're out of network. All right, so you get the gist. And then this guy writes, Josh, okay, I don't know. He asked me a question about Medigap. I don't know. I do know that there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to this stuff, and it frightens me how ignorant people are. Your old buddy Josh included. I mean, until I knew Jay, if you asked me the difference between Part C and Medigap plans literally last year, I would not have known. And I'm a pretty smart guy. Just ask me. I'll tell you how smart I am. And I would not have known, which is freaking scary because what is the biggest risk that you have is literally, if you don't have original Medicare, is the health without question. And I don't minimize that at all. I just say the likelihood of that happening isn't worth you staying in your crappy old job, miserable, getting sick, and then dying the minute you retire. It's just not. But with that said, there are things to limit the risk, which is called insurance. That's the whole point about insurance. It's a hedging strategy. So I want to point that out. All right. So that's Medicare. So the whole harmless. All right. So if I have $1,000 a month in Social Security and I get a 2.6% cost of living adjustment, my cost of living adjustment increases by $26. That's how much more I made. If I have Medicare Part B and it's $135 a month, I need my trusty calculator is way over there. So if I have $135 a month and it grows by 5%, what did my premiums go up to? It went from 135 times 1.05. It went up to basically $7. So I have $26 increase in Social Security. I have a $7 increase in Medicare Part B. I still make $26 in Social Security. Now I do 26 minus 7 is 19, but I'm still $19 for the richer. I think a lot of people, I've heard this so many times, don't inflate my Social Security because Medicare will take it all. It's simply not true because it's starting at such a high, much bigger base on Social Security than Medicare Part B. The hold harmless does not reduce or at least eliminate your Social Security benefit, even if the Medicare premiums go at a higher percentage. It doesn't work like that. It just doesn't. And the scary thing was, and this is why I said in earlier today's video, and if you're repeating this, I'm sorry, but just yapping here. is that a lot of people, they say the average Social Security is only $1,400, but the CMS itself said there are 2 million beneficiaries, 2 million, who are essentially making less than $300 a month on Social Security. So they will be impacted by the hold harmless, because a $7 increase in Medicare Part B is more than the 2.6% COLA on Social Security. Does that make sense? So they're actually going to not have to pay the full increase in Medicare Part B, because their Social Security is so low to begin with that they literally will be held harmless. But the vast majority of recipients of Social Security aren't those people. And those people are weighing everybody down for the averages. And nothing. I was just talking to a guy today. His wife's got $300 a month in Social Security because she didn't work that much. But when he files, she's going to take her spousal benefit, and it's going to go from $300 a month to like $1,500 or something like that. No, it wasn't $1,500, like $1,300. I can't remember, but it's going to go significantly higher once he files, because remember, the spousal benefit doesn't kick in until the other spouse files. So anyway, the whole point about that is the average is being weighed down by the people on the outliers who aren't making much. And there's only so much you can actually make in Social Security, that there is no Bill Gates kind of income in Social Security that can skew the averages high. Because the max you can make as PIA is what, $2,900 or something like that. That's the max. You can't make more. There's no more to be made from a retirement benefit on Social Security. We're talking retirement. And so because of that, we know for a fact that the Social Security benefit is limited to the upside, and there's tons of limits of on the downside if you're only making $300 a month. All right, we got, hey, my man, I haven't seen you around for a while, so good stuff, my friend. 55 was given permission by my financial advisor this year, but due to work commitments, it'll be summer of 2021 by the time I actually retire. Suggestions on medical insurance. Well, hopefully we shall see. Hopefully the Trumpster will get some free market solutions there. The fact that they got rid of the individual mandate is a start in the right direction, but I'm not holding my breath, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, I saw the how many Republicans sign on for the Democrats, basically giving away the store for these visa programs that they're doing to people from overseas that have less skills and work for a whole lot less income. So the fact that, there's not unanimous, but a vast majority of, I think every Democrat went for it, and about 2/3 of the Republican caucus went for it. I'm going to hold my breath on anything that's going to help the average person in the United States. I'm just not, regardless of what Trump's bully pulpit would be. So in this case, you're going to have to look at ACA. A lot of people are okay with ACA, and hey, I'm absolutely okay with that. If ACA works, the Affordable Care Act, I got no qualm with that whatsoever. And if you can get it with a subsidy from the government, I got no qualm with that either, man. And none. You didn't make the rules. We didn't make them. They made them, and we're going to abide by them. We're going to abide by them on the positive and on the negative. It's kind of like, how could you take the GI Bill and a government benefit when you're a libertarian? Well, because I abide by the rules. Only a fool would not take the GI Bill and the Army College Fund. So in this case, if you have an ACA, you want to keep your income, I think it's below $60,000. People can comment on that. If you're married filing jointly, and it's your AGI or your MAGI, your modified adjusted gross income, it's not your taxable income. So if you keep it below $60,000 a year, you get some pretty significant subsidies. And I've had enough people say they're comfortable enough with ACA that it works for them. And ACA against the Obamacare stuff. So that'd probably be your option. You go on Cobra. All right, Cobra, you pay 102% of what the company was paying for your premium. You can do that for 18 months. Here's what I think a lot of people. Here's something to think about. Kind of snake in the grassy, but I frankly don't care. You got to take care of number one. All right, let's just say you go on Cobra. You're like, all right, I'm going to go on Cobra for 18 months. It's going to cost me $1,500 a month. It cost me, for my family of 6, $2,100 a month for Cobra. So it cost me basically $25,000 over the course of 2018. It's nuts. All right, so what would you do? You say, okay, I'm going to go on Cobra because I like the docs, I like the plans and all that. I had a good plan with USA, so for us, it's worth it. After that, you're like, now what? Well, go get a job. Maybe work 6 months, 3 months, something like that. Work at Lowe's, work at Walmart, work at Target, work at Costco. They got good benefits. Get a job there, and then you quit after 6 months because you're going on to bigger and better things, and take Cobra from them or whatever. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing that at all. I mean, all this stuff is priced into the program. And essentially, Costco, let's just use Costco. They're not out any. I mean, you see what I'm saying? Because people are coming and going all the time, but they have a good medical plan for sure. So you say, okay, I'm paying the whole ride. So you're telling Costco or USAA or whatever, you're going to pay the whole ride because that's how it works. You say, at the end of the day, I'm on their system. They're paying a portion of the premium. When I leave, I ain't pay the whole premium. I mean, Costco's not worse for the wearer for sure. Now, again, it will be won't be cheap. It's 102% of what they were paying before, but at least you have insurance. Nothing wrong with doing that. And if you have a what's the word I'm looking for? Pre-existing condition, and you go to a company that has a group plan, well, they're gonna have to let you on for sure. And if you could get on in the first month or first 90 days, it's not a bad option. I don't know why more people don't consider doing that. But it's cheating. Hell, man, it's not cheating. It's just doing the rules. And if you might like the job you do, stay there. But if not, then get out of there. I don't have any problem with that whatsoever. Hell, I tell my wife all the time, if this doesn't work out, I'll go friggin' dig ditches or friggin' change oil at Walmart for a couple of years, or Costco, change tires or something like that to get on their plan and come back and try it again. I don't have a problem with that. Companies are taking advantage of tax code. Why can't we? This isn't a tax code. It's just reality. I think it'd be better for Cobra for a year than ACA if you're taxed. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. That's 100%. So if the Cobra, go on Cobra for a year, see how things shake out. The drawback is if you go on Cobra, you're going to have to come up with the money in which to pay the premiums, which could affect your ACA subsidy. Does that make sense? So, I mean, for me, $25,000 of my ACA, of the $60,000, whatever it was for the ACA, 25,000 of that was going to Cobra. So it's gonna be tough for me to get the subsidy because I'm already at $25,000 when I was paying for my Cobra. So that'd be a problem. Seemed like I had something else. Hey Josh, Tim says I'll be 62 in September. I started to convert my standard IRA funds to a Roth, 40,000 a year. It bumps up to a 22% tax bracket. 9,000 hit a conversion. Tim, the only thing I'd say is, yeah, do that. Just don't take Social Security till 70. Absolutely. Now, 40,000. You're probably not going to be put in the IRMA, the income related to medical adjustment act or whatever it is for Medicare premiums, but you're not on Medicare now anyway. So yeah, I can, especially if you're married, Tim. If you're married, that completely makes sense to me, brother. I'll tell you that right now. Hell. And then you take Social Security at 70, Roth conversions, no RMDs, no Medicare premium increases. Hell, by that point, you might not have any earned income at all. Or any income at all. You could qualify for all kinds of subsidies. Hell, you probably qualify for a significant homestead exemptions on your house because a lot of counties will have property taxes that are based on your friggin' income once you hit 65. And if you're a pauper because you got no taxable income and no adjusted income, you might have a pretty significant homestead exemption too. So 100% think that's the way to go. The only reason people retire from a job is to lock in insurance with the company matching. I don't know if there's only. Yeah, right on, Tim. The only reason people retire from a job is to lock in insurance with the company matching. I'm not following you, man. The only reason people retire from a job is to lock in insurance or continue on the job to lock insurance. And this is my issue when it came to the whole health insurance stuff. I wish it wasn't tied to the employer at all. I mean, at the end of the day, is a World War II stuff where the unions had to give up a lot of their negotiating power. So companies had to compete and unions had to compete for employees and laborers, and they did it by offering health insurance benefits. That's how it worked. And so now everything is tied through employer, and it shouldn't be. I mean, hell, USAA is a freaking life insurance company. What the hell do they know about health insurance? Why should they be involved in health insurance? Costco, why should Costco be involved in the health insurance business? It's stupid. It should all be tied to like life insurance should be tied to you getting your own private life insurance plan. I mean, it's just dumb. The whole thing is dumb. But again, to revisit where I literally thought the Democrats could have sealed the deal is if they just followed Pelosi. She said in 2009 and 10, after Obama was elected with a majority, make as little as possible. But you're making as little as possible on your 1040, my friend, but you're still got it coming in, just not showing it. Does that make sense? So if you have Social Security and Roth IRA and that's it, you have no income, none whatsoever. You have no income because you have no AGI. You have nothing. You're showing zeros, but yet you're still pulling. In this case, Tim's going to take that 70. Let's say he's pulling 3,000 a month. His wife's going to pull 2,000 a month. That's $60,000 of freaking Social Security right there. another, I don't know, $40,000 or $10,000 or $50,000, $1 million from Roth IRA, whatever it is. That's all free. It's zero. You pay no tax, none. So Tim's paying $9,000 a year in tax now to avoid any tax in the future. It's nuts. You can probably hear my boys fighting back then. Yeah. Is there anything better than, was it pre-teenage boys arguing about who has to do the dishes now because they just did the lawn. Now they're arguing about who pays the dishes. Yeah. Anyway, so you're paying, say, I'm not paying any taxes. But yeah, you did pay. You paid for FICA. You paid for all this stuff. You're still paying for friggin' property tax. You're still paying for all kinds. Hey, what's going on, Bruce? You're paying the least amount of taxable income. Yep. You're still paying for friggin' gas tax. You're paying for every single tax known to man. And this is why I always say, I don't want to stop being involved in politics. Politics is involved in you, however you look at it. Just because you don't want to be involved doesn't mean they don't want to be. They're going to be involved in you. Everything is tax. A tax is a political act. So to put my noggin in the sand and say, no politics, Josh, keep your politics to yourself. We're talking about money that you're sending to the political entities for which you live. Hey, Chris. I mean, come on, people. I know you probably, some of you, we got my man Big Red. I think Big Red's, I don't know if he's a commie, but he's a Big Red. So he's red and he's the left. So I call him a commie. I have no idea. He can't stand my politics. We got some guy got mad at me yesterday. Who was it? I forgot, but it was Chuckle. I said, dude, okay, you don't have to like the politics, but at least let's not pretend that if we ignore it, it just goes away. Just watch it flies off into the sun to affect those guys over there. Yeah. Don't tax you. Don't tax me. Tax that guy behind the tree. Have you ever heard of that? That's what they say. Don't tax you. Don't tax me. Tax that guy behind the tree, which is the problem with democracies, by the way. It's 50+1, and we can gang up on the 49.9 if we're 50+1. That's the problem. So the idea that the taxes are something you shouldn't pay attention to is crazy. But if I can get zero taxable income because I use the tax code, the way it was sent to me, I didn't produce it like this. The way it was given to us to use, why the hell would you not use that? Tim, I disagree with that. Taxes will be higher in the future. It's what's the word? It's not what's the word I'm looking for? Covert taxes is what they do. Like IRMA, like the net investment income tax. Like the AMT, like the taxes on Social Security. Those are covert. They don't get you right now. It's like when Obama allowed for many Republican states too, governors, Republicans and Democrats, to get on the Medicaid train. He gave them a huge incentive from the federal government, which doesn't have the money, to basically give them money they can use for their bottom line to say they have a balanced budget. 5 years from then, and now right now in 2020, those incentives are gone. And so these states are going to be scrambling for the increase in Medicaid costs that they took on because the federal government's backing up because they don't have the money either. And this is the thing. It's all covert. It's all a way. How can I kick the can down the road so I can stay in office and turn it over to the other guy? At some point, these things are going to have to be addressed, but they do it in a way that's and then they use the CBO, Congressional Budget Office. I don't know why so many people pay attention to CBO. They've been wrong. I mean, it's literally like the climate scientists and their crazy schemes of how we're all going to die. Shh, people are going to get mad about that. Their predictions are always wrong. CBO. Do they have some that come to true? Sure. I mean, the idea that CBO can predict in their static way they allow for this is just silly. And yet we do this all the time. So what happens is they say, okay, covertly, we're not going to increase in taxes today, but we're not going to give any inflation adjustments. So you fast forward 20 years and now everyone and their mom is paying taxes on their Social Security. AMT is the same way. AMT was 300 wealthy taxpayers when they first came up with the alternative minimum tax. They just want to get those 300 people. And before 2017, we were affected by AMT. It freaking pissed me off. I was like, this is nuts, man. I got a house. I got 4 kids. You know what I'm saying? I'm paying we got affected by AMT. And now because of TCJA, that's really not an issue for the vast majority of us anymore. But that's how they get you. They never say we're going to raise your taxes because they saw what happened to Walter Mondale when he did that. Now, maybe the government of Illinois will do that because, they're so far gone that state and everyone recognizes the taxes are going to have to go up. From the federal perspective, hard to imagine. But I give it to Bernie. He did say he was going to raise taxes, so more power to Bernie. I mean, he said it. So if you want the government running your health care, and Bernie says we're going to pay for it from taxes, at least he's honest about it. But that was honest like Walter Mondale. Mondale said, Unlike Reagan, we're both raised your taxes, but unlike Reagan, I tell you I will do so. And that was the death of his presidential campaign, that's for sure. Yeah, Ross Perot. Yep. He died. I heard about that, man. That's too bad. Ross Perot was a good guy, that's for sure. He was a precursor to the old Trumpster, as a matter of fact, with his stuff with the NAFTA, the giant sucking sound to the South, the balanced budget and whatnot. And I think Trumpster started a lot of the Ross Perot in his run in 2016. In fact, if memory serves, I think Trumpster was going to even join the Reform Party that Perot had founded. But I think he didn't when they became pretty kind of crazy. Be nice to see a libertarian candidate actually come out there and be able to do some damage. But unfortunately, I think the libertarian candidate would take too many Republican votes because the libertarians, generally speaking, are more on the right now. The left seems to be Antifa stuff, which isn't libertarian. It's not freedom minded. It is sad because the old left of the old days. In fact, I was just listening to I forgot what it was. I was reading, or I can't remember. I was listening to something. The old left, not the commie left, but the old left, like the hippies, and they're the libertarians of today now, man. I mean, my goodness, I just kind of chuckled. Man, it's too bad. All right, what else do I want to talk about here, Alex? I just jumped. I like these live things. Gary Johnson, I can't stand Bill Weld. Gary Johnson was okay. He was the first guy to advocate legalizing marijuana back in the early 90s, so I appreciated that. But that was pretty much the extent of his libertarianism when he was the governor of New Mexico. But Bill Weld is he's in there to make money. I mean, all these guys are. Let's be honest. We got 25 Democratic candidates. They know they're not going to win. They're just there to make money in campaign contributions, and there's no other way around that. But I was just reading something else too about the millionaire. The Congress people get millions from giving speeches to colleges and whatnot. Who the hell was that? I can't remember, but they're making millions of dollars of speeches from these universities. And I'm like, why is the universities raising tuition so much when they can pay out these millions? The whole thing is nuts. Just remember, if you want to study stuff and you're going in retirement, you're bored, man, look at friggin' MIT. They got the open source software there. You can look at Marginal Revolution University, MRU, from George Mason. That's Tyler Cowen, who's an economist, potentially Nobel Prize winner. I mean, all free. Marginal Revolution University. If you want to hear the libertarian take on economics, MRU is free. It's freaking awesome. But if you want to just learn basic, I learned a bunch about photovoltaic on the MIT open. I think it's open source. I forgot what it's called, but it's free, man. You're not going to get a degree. Who cares? Moving this summer from Minnesota to Chicago while working and just cleared 59.5 to avoid the 9.85% state tax rate. That savings tax compensates for the higher federal tax. Yeah, man, that's spot on. In fact, that's a good point. Going back to Tim, a lot of people do Roth conversions in high tax states when they're thinking about moving to Tennessee or something like that. I just be advised before you start doing mass Roth conversions, take a look at the state you're in, because if you can wait until you move to Tennessee or move to South Dakota, Wyoming, Georgia, Kentucky for retirees, that's obviously Florida, Tennessee, New Hampshire. That's obviously the way to go, because if you can avoid these big tax states, I mean, Virginia's not that bad. It's the way to go. It was moved to Ohio in 2 years. Where are you moving from, Tim? So if you're in Wisconsin, you're one of those Minnesota, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Iowa, those states are pretty bad for sure. Indiana is bad, man. No other way around that from taxes. Illinois is better than Indiana from taxes. That's if you can believe that, it's nuts. All right, my friends, well, I just figured I'd jump on here. Like I said, I enjoy doing this. I was watching my man Sticks, and he's doing this like 4 or 5 times a week. And he says, I enjoy it. I said, I enjoy this stuff too, man. I do it every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I greatly enjoyed that. I think we hit my most. I think I had 175 on live the other day, which is pretty cool. And I try to answer all the questions that are on there. But this time I just want to jump on here. Seems like it's MIT open courseware. Yeah. New York is trying to stop and maybe tax people leaving New York State. Couldn't believe, man. Could not. I couldn't believe it. You better believe it. New York wants their money. And if you got real estate up there, they're going to want that money as part of your estate. There was a ruling from the New York State Tax Court. I haven't been in New York for over, I guess, 2012, 13 was the last time I really did any planning in New York with financial planners, financial planning clients. I met a guy in Oyster Bay, and he and I ate lunch together overlooking whatever that lake was, Oyster Bay. And you could see Billy Joel's house on the other side. It was freaking phenomenal. And he is a big estate planning attorney who did a lot of estate work for some of the most wealthy people that you would know if I spoke. And I'm not going to. But anyway, nice guy, old Marine, pretty liberal, actually. It's kind of funny, though. He was big on Obama. I remember it was right around 2012. He was a good guy. He was big on Obama. I don't care. I mean, hell, it's fine. But he had written a lot of articles in old Trust and Estates magazine. And he was telling me that in New York, what they do is if you move to Florida and keep a portion of your estate in New York, and I'm thinking about this off in my head, so I could be, if it's not to the T, just look it up, but they prorate the percentage of your New York property for the rest of your estate, and then if that prorated amount is above the New York estate limits, they tax you. So let's just say back then the New York estate tax exclusion was $1 million. If you had $1 million assets, you weren't subject to New York estate tax. If you had over $1 million, you were subject to New York estate tax. Let's say you had a property in New York at $800,000, but you got $4 million in Florida. So you're domicile in Florida, you got $4 million, but your New York property is $800,000. So hold on a sec. What they do? I just broke my chair. My wife is going to kill me. Ooh, that's not good. I'll throw this on the trash before she comes home. I'm going to be in a lot of trouble because I already broke the other arm the other day. Now I'm breaking this arm the other day. I can put my splint. I can put Splinty on, and then she won't be able to yell at me because I'm destitute. So that's what I'll do. Anyway, so if you had so you have 800,000 in New York, and you had 4 million in Florida. So you take your that's 4.8 million. You take your 800,000 in New York, divide that into 4.8 million that you have total. So 16% of your estate is in New York State. Does that make sense? So now you take your 4.8 million, times that by 0.16. So now you have, what was it? 16%. How'd you do it? I can't remember how they did it, but you took a portion of it. It wasn't 16%. You took, I think that's what it was. The amount that was above the $1 million exclusion, I can't remember, but they got you somehow. Even though your house in Florida, in New York, was less than the estate tax exclusion, they still were able to get you. They took 16% of the amount that was above. I think that's what it was. 16% of the amount that was above the exclusion amount. So in this case, 3.8 was above the exclusion amount, and they took 16% of that, and they would tax that as part of the New York State estate tax. But my estate in New York is less than your $1 million exclusion. They said not from a prorated perspective. I can't remember what it was, but it's freaking insane. And I remember the guy telling me, it's crazy. Anyway, so just that's the kind of stuff they do, man. That's the kind of stuff they do to raise the funds. I just ruined my chair, so at least I won't be part of my estate. All right, guys, I guess I'll get back and see what my boys are doing. Appreciate you all jumping on here. Anything that comes up, let me know. Lastly, just as an FYI, the whole point I started this, I got an email from a lady. She has a net worth of $350,000, liquid net worth, and she goes, she can't afford to pay me the $2,500 financial planning fee. Can she pay me in installments? I just emailed. I said, look, if you have a liquid net worth of less than $500,000, I charge $950, and that's. I just want to be clear on that. That way, that's because she was willing to pay the $2,500, but I don't want her to pay $2,500 because she doesn't have the net worth to qualify for that. But we're still going to do the exact same plan as I do for everybody. So just keep that in mind. So anyway, we'll see you guys. Minnesota has 33-point criteria for residency tests, regardless of 100. Yeah, I believe that, Lionel. Absolutely. But remember, Tim, 2,500 is a little salty, but if you got over 500,000 liquid net worth, that's what it is. Just keep that. No, I get it. Literally, it's not for everybody without question. But for folks who have less than that, it's on my website, inherit.com, wealthplanning.com/fees. It should be rather prominent out there to see that. So I get people don't go all that. But all right, we'll see you guys later. Blessings to you all. See you now.